It's been a hot second since I've posted a video, and I wanted to update you guys on what I've been up to since August. Let's start with Diablo 4. It's always an exciting time when a new season for an ARPG rolls around. You're filled with hope that this one will reinvent the gameplay and make it feel like a fresh start in a universe you love. Season 5 of Diablo was no exception, and it did deliver those things in spades for me. At the start of the season, I decided to create the only class I had not leveled up to max level yet. This was a strategic move, so I wouldn't burn myself out. Every season, I try a new class to its maximum potential, and this time, it was the last piece of the puzzle, the sons and daughters of Tuldulra, the Druids. Now since then, I've leveled up my Druid to max level, defeated all the bosses, and participated in everything the season has to offer. I released the lore videos I had planned to do and more. Season of the Infernal Hordes was just about throwing all the demons possible at your face, and I was absolutely there for that. It's fast, snappy, and the gameplay loop works really well. When I compare it today to Path of Exile, the scope is absolutely smaller, but it's also tighter, and sometimes, after a long day at work, I like to turn off my brain and jump into the hell tides of Diablo 4. Speaking of Path of Exile, one thing that caught my attention when I played that game was the incredible level of RNG that some of the mechanics had. I mean, it's a huge slot machine with an ARPG painted on top, right? And that's fine. It's what makes it addictive and fun, to be honest. I mean, some of the crafting mechanics have their own third-party websites to try and gauge your chances in getting that modifier you really need. And if you're unlucky, you can spend hundreds of hours and failing to get the outcome you needed for that build. It's ruthless, and I think that speaks to a large audience that enjoys the grind. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because in Diablo 4, there is this crafting mechanic called tempering. And the gist is that you can add modifiers to an item by crafting them, and you have about 1 in 4 chances that the modifier is the one you need. Now, the twist is that you can only get a certain amount of tries to temper the right modifier. If it doesn't hit, you can no longer temper that item, and it becomes what the community called bricked. The vocal minority in the community really hates this, and it was all over Reddit that this was a stupid and needlessly strict mechanic limit. Now, coming from Path of Exile, the tempering limit didn't feel jarring at all to me. It's just part and parcel with ARPGs, in my opinion. I see where they are coming from, but at the same time, that's what makes these items special once you get the tempering right. I guess if there was a way to influence your chances, the pill might be easier to swallow. Anyway, it's a good example of the difference between both communities, where the PoE folks relish these RNG mechanics, and the Diablo players tend to disagree with that. I don't mind the tempering limits, but then again, I never bricked a mythic item that took me 20 hours to farm. Anyway, once I had played as much as I found fun, I thought it would only make sense to jump into the new Path of Exile League, Settlers of Kalgur, and kind of get an idea of what was going on that side. Now, the thing about Path of Exile that I love, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is the end game. Once you complete the campaign and you start working on your Atlas, that's where I think the game really shines. It's an incredible sandbox, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Even in the last league, Necropolis, which was a crafting league, where I went as far as I could until I just burnt out hard. This league, GGG, have really outdone themselves with the new league mechanic, in my opinion. They've only gone and fit a absolute town building game inside Path of Exile, because why not? And that's just the tip of the iceberg, really. And I'm sorry to say I didn't get to explore as much as I wanted to, and there's a real reason for that. I just can't bring myself to playing the entire campaign again. I know it's stupid, but playing by myself, it's an easy 8 hours of time that I don't particularly enjoy. So I discovered the town, started establishing some trade routes, logged out, and just never logged back in. Path of Exile 2 can't come fast enough. Just around that time, another game released that captured my attention. On the 19th of August, a game called Black Myth Wukong released. Now, I'm an avid Souls fan. I've finished them all. So when I saw a new single-player, third-person action game with brutal combat, overwhelmingly positive reviews, and no microtransactions, I knew I had to try it out, and it really didn't disappoint. It still doesn't. I knew nothing about the source material for this game. As you know, the lore is very important to me in any game I play, but this one is based on one of the most popular Chinese stories ever told, Journey to the West. You play as an anthropomorphic badass monkey based on Sun Wukong. You start as a weak student walking the path of this legend, trying to find them as you journey through all kinds of biomes and meet a lot of characters, some of them better than others. Now, if you were to break this game down to its very core, it's an incredibly capable boss battler with ridiculous set pieces and presentation where every boss is connected by corridors of environments with easy to defeat mobs that grant you XP. Now, where the game shines is the bosses. By far, they're just S tier in my opinion. No question, some of the best characters and villains in a game I've ever played. The story was a little confusing to me, but there is plenty of lore in-game for weirdos like me that want to dive deeper into the material. Where the game falls down, in my opinion, is in its level design. Quite frankly, it's just not up to the level of the rest of the game. The open environments can be confusing with many frustrating invisible walls, and the lack of in-game map does this game a real disservice. That being said, the rest of the game outshines my negatives, and it's a solid 9 out of 10 for me. It's that good. But before I could finish Black Myth, something else came on my radar. A game that I had been waiting for years was finally released. Space Marine 2. Now, you won't know this, but I'm a huge Warhammer nerd. I paint the models, read the books, play the tabletop games, the entire shebang. Space Marine 2 was is everything I want and more. It's just a wet dream for people like me to jump into the fray, pummel my way through Tyranids and Chaos Forces. It's the best. Everything about this game felt tailored to me. The campaign was fantastic, with incredible set pieces also and fun combats. And once I completed that 11-hour journey, I wanted more. So I jumped straight into the PvP. In the first game, I loved the PvP, so I thought, okay, let's check this one out. I was really surprised by how fantastic it is. In a way, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's quite simple. It feels like the original Gears of War PvP modes, but just in another setting. You level up your class and unlock cosmetics, and that's about it. Do you remember the good old days of Halo 3 when the only cosmetic upgrades came from playing the game? This leads me to one of my favorite things in this game, and in games in general, recognizing the quote-unquote pro players by what they are wearing. It's just an amazing feeling that was taken out of games since microtransactions became a thing. In Space Marine 2, you can come to a junction, see a fully decked out bulwark coming your way, and just by looking at his armor, you make a split-second decision of if you want to engage or if you need to run away. It's great, although they didn't add that many cosmetics for the heretics of this game. It's just colors, really, and that's a shame. So I spent probably around 20 hours maxing out the sniper class and the assault class in PvP, and what a ride that was. A sniper, honestly, was easy mode, where I could just cloak up, unload in the back of my enemies, while the assault required some real finesse. That's also something that's fun about Space Marine 2, in my opinion, is that the classes all have their clear drawbacks, and I wouldn't say they're all very much balanced. And maybe that's okay for now? It's not perfect, but damn, it's fun. Once I was burnt out on the PvP, I decided to go and try the real meat of the game, the operations. These are PvE missions where you and 2 other Marines work together through a 30-minute mission. Currently, you have 6 different missions, and overall, I thought this was really fun. I wasn't too sure about them at the start because the matchmaking is honestly completely broken, and getting into a game can take a while. This all changed when I simply joined the official Space Marine Discord and found my groups that way. It's really easy. It's a lot quicker, and everyone is super down to playing multiple missions and sharing their tips and tricks. It's chill. I really enjoy it. It helps that the Warhammer universe is what you make of it. Yes, it's bleak, but there is something really comical about calling your teammates brother and overcoming the Xeno scum together. I picked the Heavy as my main class for operations and started unlocking all the cosmetics. But wait, there is more. Something that really surprised me is that there is a talent tree for each class and for weapons and operations. These are quite simple, to be honest, straightforward, and nothing crazy complex, but it gives you something to work towards, which I enjoy. Another thing that surprised me about operations is that there is a clear way to speedrun through the missions. With the right team, you can complete a mission in 15 minutes, where usually it takes upwards of 30 plus, right? But as I was grouping up with different players around the world, I would soon find out that nobody wants to speedrun these missions at all. Because although you can level faster, it's just not fun. Everyone wanted to take their time, have fun, roleplay a bit as their favorite Space Marine chapter. What more does a Warhammer fan need? It's a great environment. It's a great ambiance. I love it. Playing these operation missions reminded me of another game I played on day one that I absolutely adored but hadn't gotten back to. I'm talking, of course, of Helldivers 2. Now, I swear I was one of the 12 people who played the first Helldivers religiously on PS4 when it first came out in 2015, and tried to pull everyone I could to play the game with me. Alas, that didn't really work out. So when Helldivers 2 came out earlier this year, I was first in line, and although the game was simply phenomenal, its matchmaking issues meant I dropped it after a few weeks of frustration. I don't even think I made it to 10 hours. Recently, some new updates came out, which injected a breath of fresh air into that game, and after 40 hours in Space Marine 2, I was curious to jump back in and do my part for Super Earth. Since then, I've been playing Helldivers 2 whenever I get the chance. I love the atmosphere, the different planets to humor, the weapons. Although I really enjoy operations for Space Marine 2, I do feel like Helldivers has the upper hand in terms of the PvE experience. The most exciting parts of these games for me are those moments of pure adrenaline when some of the other players on your team are down, the enemy is coming in hordes, and it's a real challenge to complete the objective. And when it comes to creating these epic moments, Helldivers 2 delivers in spades, especially at the higher levels of difficulty. Now, Space Marine 2 just came out, so I'm still hoping for more content and some balance changes, but in the meantime, I think I'll stick with Helldivers to scratch that itch. And so there you have it. That's just what I've been playing since August. I've been doing this nonstop, and that's also the reason I haven't really been diving back into the lore of Diablo since then. And I also did it because I know there's something big on the horizon. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. I'll be covering the lore of the game on this channel, of course. I'm really excited to get stuck in and discover what the Diablo team has cooked up for us. Now, the only question is, what class should I pick for this DLC? And of course, we can't forget that Path of Exile 2 is also right behind Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, and I'm beyond excited to try that too. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much, guys, as usual, and we'll see you in the next one.